So here we are. I'm already recording. This is our 11th episode. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I don't even know when this is going to come out because we're recording this pretty late with a small delay, but it doesn't matter when we're recording it as long as we are doing it. Hello to all of our viewers, dear students, dear teachers, dear principals, dear whoever is joining us for this 11th episode. Today's guest is no other than Miruna, one of our alumni that's currently across the seas and all the way in England. Probably your accent's better than mine. But I'm super happy to have you as a guest. Welcome, Miruna. I'm super happy that you managed to find time to join us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure as a group at Mark Twain International School. It's our honor and pleasure to have you as a guest at Alumni Spotlight, our 11th episode of Q&A sessions for our amazing alumni that are spreading the Mark Twain International School love across borders and nationally in Romania. So in order to start kicking a few questions to you, first of all, I would like to say to our followers that Miruna is part of the class of 2018. And currently she's in UK, and she got there after she enrolled for a 3D animation course at Bournemouth University, and then decided to join as a full-on student for the visual effects in film and television specialization at Arts University Bournemouth, which is wow for me because, to be honest, you're the first art student that I'm having as a guest on this show. And as an art student, graduate alumni in Bucharest, it's super exciting for me to have someone that's slightly closer to what I graduated, and I think I don't know, I'm really excited to hear everything you're doing there, and I'm pretty sure that our followers will be equally excited to find out what you're doing overseas. So yeah, I'm super excited for this episode, and I hope you are as at least half as excited or equally excited as we are here.
Of course, I don't even know what to say. I'm so nervous and excited.
You
I just
don't
want to
have to
talk a
be.
lot.
Please do talk a lot, because the whole idea of the show is to manage to inspire our future generations to have more options when thinking of what to choose for their future careers, and obviously for university choices. So it's more than important to have your expertise pitched to them to make sure that they understand how an art student's life is. Because I've been saying this like from episode one, trying to pitch for the art department. So I'm super happy to have someone else here to join this battle of inspiring our future generations. Okay, so
Yes, of course.
one of my first questions would be, when did you become a part of a member of the Mark Twain International family? Because I don't know if I know that detail.
I think it was back in 2007. I
Okay.
started with first grade. I didn't go there to kindergarten, but yeah, I started school there. So I've been with Mark Twain for a really long time.
Yeah, sometimes I keep on asking myself, like, I know most of the kids and when, like, approximately when they joined, because I think that's also because of the fact that I was really into the optional courses at Mark Twain. So I always got to see what kids were
Mm-hmm.
doing, like the new generations, what they got to do with our teachers. So yeah, I was constantly aware of our kids and super talented kids in school. So yeah, cool. So you have been from first grade. That's pretty much your entire journey. So I'm really really happy
Yeah.
to hear that. So before we kick in with more serious questions about the professional life and the struggle of being a student that's getting ready to start her professional life, my nostalgic question would be, what do you miss the most about your school years, Miruna?
Oh my God, that is a trick question. Sorry. Um, I don't know. I it would be really cliche of me to say that I miss everything, but one thing I do miss in particular is probably my first year of diploma program. I think that was the year that marked my life, my MTIS experience, to be honest, because I feel like that's when I was most connected with my classmates, and the work that we had to put in was really difficult. So we kind of all had to come together and face this dragon that was the IB. I'm just kidding. It was amazing, and yeah, I think I would love to go back to that. That was really great.
Yeah, it's like I kept on smiling because the thing is that you asked if I can send a few of the questions for you to see prior to this call. And like, I don't send the questions to anyone in general because I don't want people to overthink the process of answering these questions. I want to capture
Yeah.
your feelings as fresh as possible. And it's super funny because, as you said, it's going to sound cliche, but like, literally a lot of people say that that was one of the things I personally said. It's most of the kids just would think of going back to square one, like their first contact with Mark Twain International School. It sounds like it's a different planet. It was a different planet for us as an experience. So it's that, or it's the first or sometimes last year of IB, because that's when like the world
Mm.
changed for us. So I can totally relate with what you said. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah,
And
I feel like
yeah,
oh yeah, sorry. I was just saying that I feel like that's the moment it becomes more serious. And during school, I feel like we're all quite equal and we're all kind of treated the same. But once IB begins, everyone starts going their own ways and starts discovering themselves. And it's just really nice to experience that.
yeah, I can totally relate to that. So I won't even waste your time asking if you went for the visual art courses for the IB, but I am doing that and I want to know what you took for your extended essay, because I'm also super curious to know if you went for visual arts for your extended essay.
Surprisingly, I did not. I chose Romanian literature. And
Okay.
I did extremely well because I scored an A. So that was great, but I don't know. I don't regret it.
Well, the thing is that I don't find it like super surprising, because sometimes if we look at literature, it's like art but written. Like what you do now is
Yeah.
art that you show your craft and you can see it and you make it come alive. And when you think of literature, it's obviously another form of artistic expression. It's a choice of words, so I'm not surprised. And I think,
Hmm.
yeah, extended essay for Romanian is also a smart choice. So that was really really cool of you to choose. Uh, Also, I wanted to ask, what exactly did you choose? I mean, this episode, obviously, it's going to be very art oriented, so bear with us. And I don't know, I hope this is going to be an educational process for everyone back home listening to this interview. It's probably going to be very, like it's an insight of what it was to be an art student for the International Baccalaureate. My question is, what did you choose to do as your final like diploma project for visual arts for your main like final exhibition?
Um, I basically, so the assessment for visual arts was cut up in three parts. We had to do a project, as far as I remember, a portfolio and a PowerPoint. And I feel like my project as a whole was kind of revolving around animation, a bit of anatomy, human and animal anatomy, and how that was extremely simplified and put into animation and cartoon characters. So that was mainly my focus.
Yeah, I find that super like it's a smart choice because obviously that's something you wanted to study for when you decided to join a university. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And because I remember our first year and second year, and I was not sure what I was actually going to do because for me it was like trying to understand what visual arts meant for me. So I had an amazing teacher that pretty much
Mm-hmm.
like as a metaphor, she held my hand and she had to show me around like this is the sculpture, like this is how you do this, and this is oil painting, and these are this, and that's that. So I ended up choosing the sculpture final exhibition and pretty much went for a narcissistic approach to consumerism and personal image things, and I did self-portraits out of clay, mixing it up with the
That's
seven
really
deadly
cool. I think
sins.
I saw them.
I think they still
They
have, but
kept them in school for a really long time. They still have them.
I made it. Yeah, I'm super happy to hear that. I hope I didn't scare you guys with my choices.
It was definitely something interesting to look at.
Okay, interesting.
Creepy but interesting.
Yeah, part of them were creepy because well, I think when we think of art, we have to, because if we create something that's pleasing for everyone, it tends to get boring. But when you create something that raises questions and
Yeah,
people start doubting it, or they're confused about it, I think sometimes that's how you succeed with what you're creating, because you create conversation with the viewer. And so yeah, I at least I created conversation with you guys. So my
yeah, for sure.
question, my following question would be, because we talked about choices, was studying arts the only option you considered when you were choosing your university, or were there other options which you had in your on the back of your mind?
Um, Choosing my university and actually deciding what I wanted to follow was a difficult process for me because I didn't figure it out from the very beginning. It took me ages to figure out what I wanted to do. So I knew I was really art inclined, obviously, and I got this talent for drawing. I'm not that good with anything else, really. I'm really good with computers and anything that has to do with technology and then art. So I was like, okay, if you mix those two, what do you get? Computer animation or character design and stuff like that. So I applied to multiple universities, obviously, not just in the UK. I tried other countries such as Canada or the States. But ultimately, I realized that the UK might be the best choice for me, not necessarily because it's closer, but it had one of the highest ranked universities for what I wanted to do. And so I just did a lot of research on the portfolio and what they wanted from me. A lot of research, actually. I'm putting an emphasis on a lot. So I had to prepare. I had private classes and stuff, and drew like 400 drawings in a few months just to prepare.
That sounds exhausting, yet it sounds really exciting. Because, I mean, preparing for one of the
Yeah.
top ranked universities for the domain that you choose for your area of expertise is something exciting. So obviously it was a challenge. I'm pretty sure you were more than excited to tackle. So although it was a huge hustle to make it there, I'm pretty sure that at the end of the entire journey, you will graduate with a pack of superpowers to go out there and I don't know, maybe in a few years to see your name among those who are being nominated at the Oscars. So I don't know. I'm just projecting this to
Oh yeah.
the universe. So dear universe, if you're listening, please make this happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually funny that you say that, because my mom was like, she always told me, she was like, the moment I see your name on the credits, I'll be happy for the rest of my life. And I feel like that's my dream as well. That is something I'm trying to achieve, just have my name there, know I've done that and that and that. Just watch it in
Well,
cinema with my own kids one day, maybe.
well, that sounds inspiring, let's just say, for me, and I'm pretty sure for everyone that's watching us now. And moms know best, like every mom knows the best. So I'm pretty much sure that, although I'm pretty sure that puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders, because I mean, it is something to achieve. But yeah, as long as you
Hmm.
take that pressure and use it in your own advantage to like add some extra gasoline to your creative fire, that's more than welcome for your creative process. So my next
Hmm.
question would be obviously something related to where you are now, and how's it like to be a student at Bournemouth, but in the current situation of the pandemic? Because you're a first year student, so I'm really curious how exactly the whole process is going on. How is it taking place, the courses and everything?
This is actually my second degree. I'm finishing my first one because that was a full-time course as well, the animation one. And I that's why I decided to do this one now, because I feel like it opens more horizons. So I don't know, the current situation did affect me and did not affect me. It's really strange to say that. My course being so technical was great for me, because I managed to invest in a proper workstation and all the tools that I need, and it being online helped me a lot, actually. So I wasn't that affected. It was just annoying that I was stuck inside. But whether I worked on a computer at university or in my room, it was exactly the same thing.
Okay. So I mean, I can relate to that because there are a lot of people with professions and jobs that are super like people oriented from the interaction point of view. But as a freelancer graphic designer,
Hmm.
I'm not that stressed about not being out there constantly in crowded places. A Zoom call is partially okay for me. So I mean, I totally understand your point of view from for working from home. So you said that this is technically your second course. So you managed to graduate,
Mhm.
like the first one that you mentioned, 3D animation. Was it like a 3-year course, and then you started the visual effects course, which also lasts 3 years?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because for a second I
Yeah.
thought that you just went for like a prep course for 3D animation and then started
No, no, no.
university. Okay, okay. Well, so technically speaking, I should be asking about two universities and two different courses now, because I mean, now I'm looking at your choices, and like you're choosing a double deck, the double pack of weapons. Like you chose 3D animation, and then you went for visual effects, which is like you're creating your own things, and you're also making them move and making everything move and making every like you're adding the pixie dust over everything to shine. That's fascinating.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
That's
I decided to do this visual effects course because it includes CGI, everything you see in movies that's not real but is supposed to look real. That's basically what I'm studying right now. As a fun fact, I've got a teacher, actually multiple teachers who are in the industry, and one of them worked on all of the Harry Potter movies, for example, or the Thor movies, or I don't know, the Avengers,
wow.
which was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, you're talking to a super geek when it comes to fantasy and science fiction. So, yes, please tell us more.
Oh, I was the same. I'm the same.
Yeah, like you said CGI, and it's probably like my main criteria when I choose what to watch, especially because now like TV shows are next level. I mean, we used to have TV shows that were okay, but the movies in general, as a kid, I mean, the movies were had like huge budgets and the CGI was fine and everything. But now TV like shows are getting so amazing and they're investing so much money in the industry. So I'm super excited to hear that we have a Mark Twainer that's gonna work on future CGI projects. Please make everything look amazing, because that's literally what I look for. I go on YouTube, I check the CGI. If the CGI is flawless, I'm watching that. Like don't I don't want the whole fantasy to be ruined by CGI. So I'm super excited to hear that you chose this path. So technically my next
Thank
question
you.
would be, give us a detailed intro, glimpse, whatever you want to call it, about your like what you have studied as a 3D animation student, and what you're currently studying as visual effects in film and television. Like how, like give us like blow our minds, because I think you're doing something that will blow our minds. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Um, Courses are different but really similar at the same time. With the animation one, obviously, when you say animation, you think of children's cartoons and childish movies, etc. Disney, obviously, it's the first thing that comes to your head, mind. Um, so basically, in that course, I had to create and come up with, for example, this was one of the projects, a big one that I worked on. I had to come up with a character, model it on the computer, create, literally model it, sculpt it from the very beginning, add a skeleton to it, make it move, all of that, a technical process basically. So I had to do that, and yeah, that was one of the projects. Basically, create this thing from scratch
Mhm.
with your own imagination, obviously with the help of the teacher. But yeah, and I think that was pretty interesting. We also had classes where we had to come up with stories. We had to think of storyboards or character descriptions, or they'd give us characters and be like, what do you think this guy would look like if he existed? So it was a really creative process whilst also using technology. And then with this one is more film based. It does not include that much animation. I'm studying cameras, the inside of a camera with lenses, all of that technical stuff. We went on sets with green screens and blue screens and the whole thing that goes like cut and all of that stuff. um, yeah, and this one is also really technical, and they're basically teaching us how to do the simplest things. We worked on scenes from Narnia, for example. They gave us access to certain scenes. There's this one with the lion, and there's this massive wave behind them, and that's something we had to work on. They taught us how to remove certain things and make it look real. So it's really interesting, because I think that's been my passion all along. I'm looking at a movie and I can't believe what I'm watching does not actually exist, and that's what I want to create for people.
Wow,
It's like
that's
magic.
it is magic. Like it does sound like magic, and it's obviously fascinating. And to be honest, like hearing what you were saying, I was getting overly excited, and I was like, "Wow, I want to do that now." Because yeah, I would really love people watching to try to understand the excitement, uh, like that I feel now as an art student, and I'm pretty sure that at least a couple of kids that are gonna watch this episode, they're gonna be obviously everyone read Harry Potter, so I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna be excited anyway. Uh, but yeah, it sounds super, super, super exciting, and I I can't imagine how your future will look like once you have this double degree and you start working in the industry, because I'm pretty sure you're definitely gonna make it to the credits as soon as possible. And it's really smart because like we see how the world is super evolving from the technological point of view. So the fact that you have this double set of skills, it's definitely gonna help you to, because it's definitely an extra layer of knowledge. Like you do know how to create the character from scratch, and you know how to make it move and everything, and then you know all the technical points of view of how to make everything happen in the real world. So yeah, that sounds uh, pretty amazing. And my question would be like, are there, you said like this is your second specialization, like for someone that's currently, let's say, a high schooler, like what advice would you give to them if they are considering a career towards, for example, what you're studying? Like what should their steps be now as high schooler, or even younger than high schoolers, because I feel like they might need to have some extra work to make it there.
Um, the first thing I'd say, and probably the most important thing, is that they need to make sure it's something they love and it's something they do for fun and with pleasure. because obviously that's the key to success. You're not going to be able to finish anything successfully if you don't put your heart into it. And that's what's helped me. I realized I loved it so much, you know, I wanted to grab it and just study it. So that would be my advice, would be to just figure it out. That's the first step, you know, just think about it. You have time. Just see and discover your passion or your talent. And obviously, the next steps are just um, sort of default steps. You obviously have to find the university, read about it, see what the portfolio wants, because they usually have some requirements and they want you to do this, this, and this. Figure out how to send it. But this is all just technical stuff, like anyone can do it. It's more about you figuring out what you want to do, because at the end of the day, you have to think that you will be going there and studying that thing for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So you just have to think that every day when you wake up, you still want to do it.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, especially the last part. Uh, and now that you did mention the part in which you have to wake up every day and want to do it, which would be like the hardest, like what would you describe as being the hardest part of like the struggle uh, in what you chose as a career, as a subject to study at university?
Um, it's obviously as cool as it sounds. It's not all glitter and rainbows, although I wish it was. It's pretty much like a roller coaster. I have moments when I'm really close to giving up because I get really exhausted. It's something really exhausting. Um, but the thing that keeps me going, I think, is seeing it finished and the final product. And I press play and I just sit there and watch it. And I'm like, yeah, I did that. So that every time it just helps me go forward. But obviously, the most difficult part would be when you keep working on the same thing for a really long time and sometimes it just doesn't work. I've had loads of corrupt files that I lost, which was beyond my power. It just happened, and that really brings you down. It's really annoying, obviously, having to work with computers, lag, glitches, anything could happen. The power cut and you lose all of your progress. I've went through it all.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone watching, if you're working at something, this is a kind reminder to fast go to whatever you were doing and press save. Yeah, that's probably the
Yes,
best
for
advice.
sure.
Constantly control S, control S. Okay, this may be applied to everyone's life too. Control S. You know, it's control S the file and control S your mental health, because I feel like sometimes our mental health and the files are pretty much the same thing, because once the file is not saved, so isn't your mental health. Yeah, the
Pretty
struggle
much.
is real. The struggle is super real when it comes, because I remember we were all struggling with like losing files that had like 2 A4 pages that we wrote for this assignment have been lost. I mean, we discovered the whole trauma of losing the file that's not saved as kids, and then it grows. And once you once you discover that you just probably lost the whole animation that you have worked on for hours and hours and hours, that's when you discover that you should always keep the autosave on. By the way,
Oh
in
yeah, for sure.
what programs do you use for the 3D modeling?
So for the 3D modeling, I use Maya. It's basically an industry standard.
Mhm.
Everyone works in Maya.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Yeah, and
if
then
it's
there's
Max
loads
or
of others.
because I like I know a part of.
I used to work in 3D Studio Max.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back when I was in Romania and I was preparing to go to university, I did this course,
Mhm.
and I was working in 3D Studio Max. And then when I went to uni, they were working in Maya, and it's pretty much the same. It's quite easy.
Yeah. Okay. Like the fact that you learn something and then you get somewhere and you realize that people are using something else, that's another thing you don't want to discover when you randomly get there. So, one piece of advice for everyone watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to say something on that because I do have a lot of classmates who have never heard of those programs and yet they go there. But if you're lucky enough, the course is so good, it's going to be able to teach you everything from scratch and you don't have to have any experience whatsoever. But that's very important. Like, you need to make sure you know what you're going to do there because they usually, and you can find this on the university websites, if you go in your course it will show you a breakdown of each year and show you what you're
Mhm.
going to do, what you're going to use, etc.
So, technically speaking, you're trying to say that if you don't know any of those specialized program for 3D modeling, you can just like they teach you guys from scratch to work in those programs.
Obviously it would be better to come with some sort of experience or knowledge about ram, but uh yes, pretty much. I obviously didn't know all of the programs I was going to work in. I had them and I knew they existed, but I never actually touched them, so to say. um so for example, this program that I'm using, it's called new. It's quite complicated, but it's used for video editing and adding things in, removing things. It's quite hard to explain. But I didn't know anything about that program. And then in 3 weeks, I was at a pretty decent level, thanks to my teacher.
Wow, that sounds amazing because first of all, most of the time the courses, like even if you do them back home wherever you are, most of the time it's also expensive to attend some of these courses. I mean, they're not like PowerPoint courses, and I'm not trying to be mean. um, so yeah, it's pretty cool because technically, like besides what you can do with your own hands, as in like the whole sketching process, because you don't just start working in 3D without actually having your ideas going through your mind to your hands on the paper and from the paper to the computer. Like it's really hard to bypass that project. It has to be like it has to follow those steps because otherwise, yeah, at least from my own point of view, because obviously I'm not getting anywhere close to what you're doing, and I, to be honest, I have been running away from illustration as much as I could currently. So whenever my clients are like, "Oh, do you do illustration?" I'm like, "That's a really tricky question." Because yeah, it implies you have you making a lot of sketches, a lot of brainstorming, and then deciding to get an okay from your client to use those sketches and to transform them in 2D in my case and 3D for you, which sounds like slightly much more complicated.
um I actually wanted to say that even though my course is really technical and we only work on computers and stuff, I do have one class of traditional drawing and I actually draw nude people,
Yeah.
male, female, objects sometimes, and it's really interesting. I've never done that before. but just sitting there having this person in front of me, you know, the first instinct giggle and be like, oh, you can see this, you can see that. But I don't know, it's at a more serious level, and you see beyond that. You look at the shapes, you look at the way the skin folds on the bones and on the meat and all of that. And supposedly these traditional classes are supposed to help us see 3D as well. So it's connected to what we do on the computer.
Mhm.
So it's really cool.
I mean, you're saying that you have to, like, the whole just sketching or like study anatomy study courses, especially with live models. Like, I can't imagine how important they are for you. I mean, I did that, and like the department that I graduated here in Bucharest was interior design. So interior design, like human anatomy. Yeah, obviously, the way we studied it was from the point of view of trying to think the environment that you're designing for the human being. So it was also important to
Hmm.
know, like, to what extent the human body can move, and what exactly is healthy movement wise, to make sure that what you project, what you design is not harmful for the body. I mean, like, most of us think of, like,
Hmm.
I don't know, something basic like designing a kitchen, but in order to be, for example, like, this is extra insight for those of you following. If you think of designing a kitchen, you have to think, like, how many times is this person gonna approach the oven, and how many times does, like, because the classical ones were always under, so it's a lower movement that you constantly have to make. But as things evolve, you start to think that that's damaging for your body, and then people started moving the ovens slightly upper, and now you see more modern kitchens having them somewhere in an upper region. So yeah, I totally understand that.
Mm.
And I do imagine, and I like the whole, I mean, I can relate to the whole giggling vibe, because we've been there too. So yeah, once you get your through your first course of sketches, we used to call them here croquis, which I'm pretty sure that's well,
Hmm.
what you did is like one probably much more detailed anatomy study of the human body. We pretty much tried to capture the movement of the body, so it was slightly lighter compared to what you're studying. But yeah, it's really important, because once you get to sketch those bodies, you get to understand how each layer of skin, meat, curves, details, how everything arranges on the body, and you get to use that valuable information on the characters that you create.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So my almost last question would be, what is pretty much on your wish list? Like, you did mention making it on the credits list at the end of a movie or animation, but, like, more than that, what's, like, because I want you to imagine that dream, that wish, that desire related to your career, and I want you to, like, describe that one desire when it comes to your professional life.
Oh God. um, all I can say, it's a huge want, a huge want. But I feel like I will be at peace and extremely happy and extremely proud of myself the moment I am going to work at a famous studio and do this every single day and maybe get some recognition for it as well. Why not? That would be amazing. And money, obviously. Like, It's all about the passion, the dream, the love, but you do need
And
the money.
I mean, like we always talk about this part, and it's really interesting because we always get to mentioning the whole money part of every single industry that we manage to debate on the alumni spotlight, and the main idea that we all get to, like you're slightly younger than my generation, and as an advice from my generation to your generation would be to not worry about the money, because once you're 100% or 110% dedicated to what you love, money will start following you and you won't
Hmm.
even realize when money ended up knocking at your door. So as long as you really, really love what you
Hmm.
do, you're definitely not gonna. I mean, it's technically impossible to do something wholeheartedly and not be recognized and be not to be paid for it. So don't even stress about it.
Hmm. Thank you for that. Thank you. Remember that. That's actually
Yeah,
pretty cool, pretty good.
I mean, especially coming from me, like the moment I realized that I want to approach the more of a creative work field, obviously a lot of times our creative fields are seen as not super opportunities and not well paid, because it seems like it's really hard to make it in
Hmm.
creative industries. But once you do what you love with passion, and you don't feel like you're working, it's really, really, like, you have to be patient and just stick to your own gut and to your own guns. And your guns are your digital pens and colors and crayons and the ideas that you have in your mind, because those things are things that nobody can take away from you. So always rely on that sparkle that's inside of you, and it's trying to get out in a creative way towards the world.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure. I'm ready.
so happy to hear that. So my like final question would be, what's your advice for anyone that's graduating currently soon enough, and they're trying to throw themselves towards their university years in a full pandemic universe? Like, what's your, like, it's like a goodbye advice to our followers who might be young, who might be old, and they're reconsidering their career choices. So feel free to let it all out.
Just take it easy. Just take it one step at a time. You have to remember that you do have time, even if sometimes it feels like you're running out of time. You do have time, and you need to take your time. Take it one step at a time, take it slowly. It's a whole process. So you do something, and then that will lead you to something else, and that will lead you to something else. Don't feel lost, because you've got support, and you've got a lot of resources. So that is helpful. I came here alone, it was extremely scary, but it ended up being probably the best decision I've ever made. You will reach a point in life when you're just gonna have to be braver than you usually are. you know
Hmm.
you have to be brave and just go for it. It's your life. It's gonna be great, and it's gonna be a completely new experience, and that should you enough and make you curious enough to go there.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, and I second everything you just said, and I subscribe to that. And like, probably the easiest thing to ever do is to give up whenever things feel like they're hard to tackle. And that's when you have to be as stubborn as possible and to just keep on looking forwards and never stop walking on your own path of professional, creative, whatever field you're approaching. Like that's the main advice that you should probably
Mm-hmm.
stick to. Always to keep on looking forward and mm, like don't even if you fall, it means that after you fall you're gonna get up. So once you fall, there's just one way to go up, so just stick to it.
Well, my motto is every kick in the butt is a step forward.
Yeah. So if the kick is strong, it means you're gonna make a huge step ahead. So even in those situations,
Oh yeah,
just
for
stick
sure.
to your own skills and like superpowers, whatever you're choosing your superpowers to be. So it was more than amazing to have you on our 11th episode of Alumni Spotlight, hosted by Mark Twain International School. And I'm super happy to have had this chat with you. I don't even remember when it was the last time we got to see each other. It was really, really, really like I knew that you did choose a creative university when it came to your choices, but it was really, really exciting for me to find out all these amazing details about your university choices, your dreams, your and the fact that you're already enrolled in your second uh, course at university. So I'm really, really thankful that you managed to take your time to share your journey with our followers, Miruna.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was actually an honor to speak to you and to everyone. And I hope that this will help people. I really do hope so.
I'm pretty sure it will. It will, because yeah, like I would have really enjoyed to have a show like this when I was a high schooler choosing his career. So I'm pretty sure that everyone will be
Mm.
excited to follow this episode. And once again, thank you. And I'm also thanking everyone that's been following us during this call. And I hope that everything that Miruna has provided you, her wisdom, will be helpful in making your career choices. And yeah, now you guys know that we have people from Mark Twain that are going to be future Avengers special effects team members. So watch out and make sure to read the credits because we're going to see Miruna's name up there.
Hopefully. Thank you so much for this.
It was our pleasure. And it's not hopefully, it's just a matter of time. So keep on believing in yourself, as I'm pretty sure the entire Mark Twain family has been believing in you during your educational years there, and pretty much as they do right now as they follow your journey. So once again, thank you for joining. Thank you to our followers that have been watching this 11th episode. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week ahead and good luck with whatever you're up to this week. Stay safe, stay happy, stay sane, and stay positive. Sending hugs to you and to our followers. Thank you again for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.